kind of like the concept of supercompensation, and how over time, as you become accustomed to, the physiological stresses of exercise or swimming or whatever it may be, you get fitter aerobically, or you get stronger, improved muscular endurance, but nothing would have prepared you for that, the Northern Channel swim that you did, from Belfast Island to Scotland, where you actually had some kidney stones there 24 hours or so before you did that swim. How do you kind of center yourself?
I tried to, so horses for courses, for the North Channel, I wanted to get there 3 or 4 days earlier. I wanted to sit on the beach, understand the conditions we're in. So I wasn't going to get blue bottle stings, but it was quite likely that we were going to get lion mange jellyfish, which are huge, the size of a small car. Their tentacle goes for tens and tens of meters, and they sting like buggery, but we're used to blue bottles here, so they're not as bad as blue bottles. They don't hang around for long. So we know that's an issue. I know it's very unlikely there's going to be anything else in that ocean that's going to cause me any sort of risk. So that's out of the way. The factor is cold, so I have to remind myself in those quiet hours before a swim that I've done all the cold. Nothing can be colder than midnight in 12 degrees water off La Perouse, lonely and cold and dark and raining. So I've done all that stuff. So just reassure myself that all of the hard work's been done. This is the easy bit. This should be the bit that we enjoy, and get yourself in that mindset just beforehand. And the mindset is everything. But when you're going to do Molokai, for example, okay, this is a very long swim. This is 50 kilometers if I go in a straight line. There is a possibility that there'll be other marine risks or threats in the water, and what are you going to do about it? But we've spoken about it. Everything's already done, and that's an important place to be just before you swim. In the North Channel, I had my head in the right place. I was set. I was very relaxed. And then, as you said, it was 48 hours before the swim, I had this horrible stabbing pain in my back, and I learned very quickly it was a kidney stone. I couldn't go into the hospital or the doctors. I didn't want any medication because that'll disqualify me out of the swim. And I writhed in agony for full 24 hours. I was absolutely in pain, couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't do all the things. When I should be in a Zen-like state, I'm writhing in agony on the floor with no answers, and I've not considered how I'm going to manage this. And it's caught me by surprise completely. There was no warning. And so by the time I was just about to pull the pin, because of other people waiting in line to do the swim, I didn't want to get in anybody else's way. I was just about to call the pilots and cancel it. It stopped. And I don't understand the human body, but it just stopped. It started, it was aching for a while, but it wasn't the pain that I was experiencing. So I pushed ahead, got in the water, a little tired, quite fatigued from that pain for 24 hours, untreated pain, and started the swim. Swim was very cold, but I think because of my weakened state, because of the condition that previous 24 hours left me, I was a little bit more prone to the cold. I was a little bit more prone to fatigue, but we pushed off anyway. And the most beautiful thing happened to me in that swim, in that we were halfway across. We started at 4 o'clock in the morning. The outside temperature was either 4 or 6 degrees. It was a cold day. When the sun came out, you could see it was light, but you couldn't get any heat from that sun. And the cold was soaking into my bones. But at that stage, it was okay. And I was getting into the rhythm. And this goes to what you're asking specifically. As I was getting into the rhythm, I know I could hear the bubbles. I couldn't see very much. All the other senses have been sort of taken away from you, and you're just on your own in the water, following a boat, listening to your own bubbles, rhythmically rocking back and forth. And it's not a race, so you can take your time. You can't go slow. You have to go fast to keep the warmth up. But then Vlad fed me off the back of the boat, and almost immediately he called me back to be fed again. In my mind, it was like double feeding. And he said, no, there's been 45 minutes between these feeds. So for 45 minutes, my mind had gone into a really wonderful state that I could get rest. I felt rested after that, that I felt reinvigorated, fresh, and that helped me a lot. I did finish that swim in a terrible state, though, because hypothermia did end up catching me. And the last couple of meters of that, I was away with the fairies. I can't remember touching the rocks, but it's on video. I did, and I couldn't speak for the next 12 hours. So I was very much affected by hypothermia. But during the swim, I had some really wonderful experiences. But I can trace back why I wasn't in such a good condition at the end of that. It was nothing to do with preparation or training. It was just the unexpected. And that's the bit that gets you.